Hey everybody, welcome back. Just going to do a short little video here, show you guys what I'm working on. Is that coal load that you see there. And I'm going to, probably in the comments, give some credit out to some other guys who kind of combining some methods I've seen done elsewhere. But what that is it's a block of foam that's cut to fit in the hopper car and then sanded into the shape of the top of a mound of coal. And then what I did was I took just regular charcoal briquettes and I put them in a bag and I bashed them with a hammer down to the size of small rocks, small pebbles of it, and then put that in a old blender that I have for that kind of thing. Pulsed it till it was almost a powder and then sifted it. And so the surface that you see there is actually charcoal, not real coal. I've seen some methods using foam and then the shaping that I'm doing and then dip it in, Woodland Scenic's coal product, and that looks okay. And the other video I'll link down below to give proper credit was a gentleman did he did his loads out of balsa wood, and then the surface of it is real coal. To his point, what better than real coal to simulate coal? Well, I don't know where to get real coal. It's 2020. Maybe you can, but I've never purchased a lump of coal before. So I did have charcoal, so that's what I used. And this is a container just of the sifted, ground up charcoal, just to show you what that looks like. It's enough. It's more than enough here for the loads I'm doing. I think it looks pretty good. There's some lighter chunks, it looks like little twigs or something from the charcoal making process, I suppose, that made it through my sieve. But that's okay if those end up on the surface of the load. What I did with the first one that I showed you in the hopper car at the top of the video is I just touched that up with some black paint, just cheap black paint. Just touched it up here and there where it looked like there was something a little too light. And I think that that does a pretty good job of convincing coal. So the right side of that ruler is this thing called metric, and metric's this kind of interesting measuring system that's all based on 10 instead of quarters and eighths and sixteenths and 30-seconds. So I'm in America. I know what an inch is, and I don't know what a centimeter is. But when I measured the car, I measured it in millimeters. And then what I did is I took that measurement, the length by the width, to a scrap piece of foam, and I marked off the shape. And I did several of them. As you can see, I've got a whole stack of them there, and there's a couple of sort of rejects over there I might need to work on a little bit more. But I made a couple of them. Just cut them out with a usual razor saw. Use a straight edge to get the first cut, and then once you've got that, just be careful and cut it pretty straight. And then what you do is you lay this block in the car and then trace around the top of the car with a pencil or a pen or whatever, and then you turn it on its side and you'll see the line from where the car top is when it sits down in the car. So you want to go just a little bit above that and cut the top of that off. And then, maybe it's easier if I actually show this part. Okay, so you can see the mark I made there around the top of the car. So we'll just take that out and lay it on its side like this. And the next thing you want to do is, that would be way too high of a stack. And I'm using foam that's a little too thick. So the next thing you want to do is come just a little bit above that line, right about there, and cut the top off. And I'll come back when I've done that and show you. Again, if you go watch the video, I'm going to link in the description. The gentleman does a much better job than I'm doing demonstrating the technique. But then what you do from here is you bevel this edge. So you kind of come in like that, and you use the line that was the top of the car as your guide to mark the side of the pile, and then you just sort of angle it up. You do that on this side, you do it on the other side like that, and then come back on the ends like that on both sides. and you'll end up with a kind of a, you know, a bit of a, almost looks like an ingot, like where the sides all slope down, and they're sloping down to the mark that you made that shows where the top of the car was. Then you sand it, and you get something that looks like this. This needs to be painted with black paint, just flat black or whatever you have, dark black paint, and let that dry. And then you just brush on straight white glue. And what I did from there is, once the white glue was on there and a little bit tacky, I just turn around and I dip it right in that bucket of, you know, coal that I made. And bring it out, let it sit, let that dry. And it looked fantastic. But when you picked it up, pick up this load, if I had just left it like that, it would make your hands black from all the charcoal dust and stuff. So the last thing I did, once the white glue was dry, was just hit it with the normal, you know, diluted, this is probably, I don't know, 25% glue, 75% water, and a little bit of isopropyl alcohol mixed in for good measure. And I just took that and I drizzled it all over it. Once the undercoat of glue was dry, drizzle that all over it, and then brush that on and smooth it out, and then just let it sit. And once I did that, just like ballast or anything else, it's now sealed. It still looks good. It's not, doesn't quite have the definition it did, but it's still pretty good. And I can do that, and it doesn't make my finger black. So that's how I made the coal loads. So I'm going to crack on from here. I've got this one to paint, this one to, oh, that's the scrap piece from another one. This, this one to bevel and sand. And then I've got to cut those three, mark them, cut them. And I may want to recut those. Those don't quite fit right, or play with them. So those two, we'll see about those. At the very least, I'm going to end up with 6 loads, right? The one I already did just to test out the method, these 2 that are in progress, and the 3 more. And that may well be enough. Although I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 would be better. More is always better, right? So I'll go ahead and just wrap this quick video up there. Just wanted to share with you guys what I was working on, and hope y'all enjoyed.